Hello everyone, my name is Josh Gilliland, attorney blogger for Bowtie Law. Today we are focusing on legal technology because it is profoundly difficult to do eDiscovery without technology. So I've invited friends from across the eDiscovery software company universe to talk about their view of the future and how to help people. I am very privileged to have my friend Ian Campbell, who is the president and co-founder of ICONECT Development. Ian, how are you today?
I'm outstanding, Josh. Looking forward to ILTA next week.
It's an awesome place to be. Well, Ian, first question for you. What do you think are the greatest challenges for attorneys in the future?
That's a great question, Josh. I think the biggest challenge that's out there right now really has to be the size and scope of data. I think it's one of those things that it's just not getting smaller. We thought culling was going to help us. We thought some level of digesting the data at the front end before we start the review was going to help, but it just keeps getting bigger. And now not only are we seeing things like email, but we're starting to see a number of social media vehicles. When I say social media, I'm not talking about Facebook. I'm talking about things like messaging content and Skype messages and text messages off your phone. Those are all forms of communication now as well, and that's really starting to cause that big data mentality where there's just a lot of data out there. And I think the real challenge is how do you digest that data. It's one thing to search it, but the problem is that you go and search it, you get back 10,000 results. What do you do with that? And when you go from, when you try to cull down big, you still get big. And I think that's a big challenge for people that isn't going to go away.
Wow, agree. Now, how are you helping address those challenges at ICONECT?
We're doing it in a number of different ways. I think the one thing that we've seen over the years is that when you go into any view within a software program, you see lines and rows of information. You see everything kind of looks like an Excel spreadsheet. I mean, it has for years. You go back to the programs we were using 10 years ago, and again, everything was sort of in a big grid. As I said, when you go from very big and you cull it down, you still end up with big. Looking at that as 10,000 lines in an Excel spreadsheet is still very, very hard to digest. So one of the things that we're doing is we have added an entire metrics layer and visualization layer to the software. The ability for me to chew through those 10,000 records and instantly see that information as a pie chart, instantly see it as a line graph. So that what I can start to understand better is the dynamics of that data. How does it ebb and flow? Where are the spikes? And I can start to hone in on that data and in a very simple visual way. As I say, a picture's worth 1,000 words. And what we have really done is taken that to heart, and we are designing a way to show you pictures of your data. And I think that's going to resonate really, really well with people, giving them the ability to instantly see what it is they're dealing with.
Can you give us a peek of what you're working on?
Absolutely, yeah, I can do that. If you hand over the screen, I'll show what we're talking about.
You have the con, it's all you.
Good stuff. I'm just going to go to share screen here and pick the right one. Okay. Should be that one there. Can you see that okay, Josh? I can. Okay, so you should see some purple in the middle, is that correct?
Yes.
Excellent. So I'm just going to go into, you're probably familiar with the fact this is the ICONECT system. Once I go in, there's a lot of branding that you can do in the top left-hand corner. Of course, the interface could be in any language that I wanted. The middle area there for messaging so I can collaborate on my data. Those are really some core things within the XERA environment. But the XERA platform, which is really the flagship product from ICONECT, really has taken on a new look. It's a tile system. What you're seeing here are a number of tiles that can be created on a dynamic way so that this becomes a virtual dashboard for litigation. We've gone well beyond the give me a list of folders, I click on the folder, and that's the subset I'm going to work in today. We're finding that attorneys and paralegals and review teams want information. I heard the term recently, glanceable information. I thought that was a very interesting term because if you think about what you do with your cell phone, you glance at your cell phone all the time. Why? Because you just want to look at the time, or you want to know the weather, or you want to know if you have any new voicemails, or any missed calls, or any new text messages. Glanceable information. We've really taken that to heart and looked at what can we give people in our software at a glance to give them a high-level overview of the status of projects. So this tile system here focuses on glanceable information. I can immediately see how my batch is done, how my batch is progressing. I can easily see an overview of document collections. This is all glanceable information, and the tile system is going to continue to become a foundational component of ICONECT software moving forward. What I really wanted to show you, though, Josh, is a whole area here in visualization. This is what we're used to seeing in virtually every software program out there. But that's extremely hard to digest. I could search it, I could sort it, but I still have a bunch of lines of data. But wouldn't it be interesting if somebody went and said, what's the content of that information, Ian? Can you give me a high-level overview of what the designations look like? And that quickly, I can actually go through literally millions of records and visually see that I have a whole bunch of hot documents, a whole bunch of privileged docs. And if I went, you know, these hot documents that I'm seeing here, which one of my custodians is actually producing those? I could come in here and look at those designations and break it apart by custodian. Now what I get is an overview of which one of my custodians is generating all of these hot documents. I can go one step further. I could say, well, I really don't want to see unresponsive, eliminate. I really don't want to see okay to produce. I want to focus on these hot documents. And I'm really interested in the ones that were produced by Gordy and Jack and, oh, look past my monitor here, Alex. Notice what it's done. It's created a search for me across the top. An incredibly intuitive way for somebody to digest millions of records. Click, click, click. Click on filter, and I have a couple of options now. I can either look at those in a table view, or I can go over to the next level, and with the built-in native file viewer right inside ICONECT, I can actually see those documents. I could, in fact, even have subgrouped them and put them into a folder. And now I can start to navigate through those documents one by one, having a look at them. Again, we're ripping these documents on the fly directly into the viewer. Go one step further here, I can go into my coding panel, and I can code those documents with all kinds of dependencies and different things involved in them. And at that point in time, I can say, great, that's what I wanted to do. But you know what? I want to look at that every single morning. So I'm going to go back a panel here, and then go back to my visualization area, and I'm going to go, I want to see that every day. I want to go in here, and I want to save it as a tile. And I want to save that as an overview of hot docs. And at that point in time, what I can actually do is click on Save. And what I then can have every single day when I come in is maybe an overview of that as a chart right on the front. Because not only can we look at the data, we can also look at productivity metrics and percentages of information. So in answer to your question of can we show it to you? Absolutely. It's this is code which is probably about 3 or 4 weeks away from release. And so we're very, very excited about this. We've actually built this in the back end. I saw a demo the other day where we were ripping 7 million records in under 5 seconds into these bar charts and graphs. That's a great way to take on that challenge you talked about with regard to how do you deal with all this data. You deal with it with visualization, and ICONECT is continuing to look over the horizon and bring tools that allow people to do that and digest that massive amount of data.
Well, Ian, thank you. That's a beautiful demo, and I look forward to the release and seeing more about it. For those who are watching this video podcast, how can they learn more about XERA?
That's a great question. You can actually go to ICONECT.com. It's ICONECT with one N, so www.iconect.com. There's a number of different ways to click and contact a sales representative. We have over 60 LSPs around the world, all of whom have the ability to demonstrate this and take on projects. So that's something that we're always interested in promoting that team. As well as that, we also have again, the info@iconect.com email address. You can easily come in and take advantage of the resources that we have on our end to be able to do that.
Don't you guys also have a YouTube channel?
We do. It's probably ICONECT, so it's probably real simple to find. So go onto YouTube and just type in the word ICONECT, and you'll find a number of different options there for you.
Awesome. Now, Are you going to ILTA next week?
Yes, we have a whole team of people at ILTA, not necessarily on the floor. I think most of our team are setting up private demonstrations. So probably the best way to track us down, again, is to go to info@iconect.com and request that one of our team members contact you. We can set something up. It's a fantastic complex that we're going to, and we're going to be taking advantage of all the private spots where we can really drill down into some exciting stuff.
Awesome. I hope it's a successful show for you. Now, finally, since I am a geek and I'm not afraid to ask geek questions anymore, who is your favorite comic book superhero and why? And I would like something besides Alpha Flight, so hit me.
Boy, it's a good question. I'm not sure it probably started in the comic book. It actually started from a science fiction novel called Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep? And I think you probably know where I'm going with that one. It'd be the movie Blade Runner that came out in about '86, I believe. I'm lucky enough to have an original Blade Runner script in my basement, signed by Harrison Ford and Ridley Scott. So, but I've always loved that movie, and I think the one thing that captured me all the way back in the mid '80s was the future of visualization. Everything was about being able to visually see in graphical form. And really take that to the next level, digesting a ton of information. In his case, Richard Decker was the name of the character that Harrison Ford played. But in his case, he was chasing robots from the off-world who'd come back to here on Earth. And but again, he did it with a lot of visual mechanisms. And if you remember or not, but they had these large sort of zeppelins going along in the sky with these massive billboards. The visual effects in that movie were over the top, and it's always been a favorite of mine. So although fringing on comic book, it would have to be Richard Decker from Blade Runner.
So they did a comic book adaptation, so I will give you that one. It was 1982, and that was a great year for sci-fi with Star Trek II. You also had Tron and a bunch of other ones. Yeah,
and it was Sid Mead did all the visualization on that. There is the Bradbury Building in downtown Los Angeles is where the final scenes were filmed on that. It's actually now a police station for the police office in LA. But I was lucky enough to go there a couple of years ago and actually ride the elevator to the top level, just like Rutger Hauer did in the final scene. So that was very, very exciting for me.
I have seen things you people would not believe. Attack ships bearing off the arm of Orion. His death speech is phenomenal on that.
I totally agree. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, this was very geeky and beautiful demo. Thank you for that. And I look forward to seeing you in the future and have a great time in ILTA next week.
Sounds great. Thanks, Josh. Take care. Have a great weekend.
You too. Thank you, Ian.
Bye-bye.